Que pasa, cabrón? If you've ever seen those flirting versus sexual harassment kind of memes, you know they're pretty funny because it's actually true. What you don't think about is that you are actually capable of making that transformation for yourself. I remember back when I was trying all these different internet tactics, all the stuff that the guys in the YouTube videos were telling you, like, oh, you just have to be bold. It's all about game. Just like slide in your DMs with this, and this is the perfect line, and she'll automatically fall in love with you. And, I was actually going to try to implement it and just see how it worked because I was kind of insecure about how I looked. I didn't feel the most attractive, but I was like, well, it doesn't matter about that. It's all about game. And so try all these different things. And there was one in particular that I remember they were telling you to like slide in with something bold, something that's going to stand out rather than like, hey, or, oh, you're so beautiful. So I was sliding in with something bold, like just sliding into girls' DMs, saying something cringy, like would not pull out or something like that. Just something bad, And there was this one girl in particular that I did it with because it was like a copy and paste kind of thing. But there was one girl in particular that I did it with that, kind of called me out on it and kind of had this very negative reaction. And, immediately, because I wasn't like red pill or anything at the time, I didn't really have any game built up. I immediately started backtracking. I was like, whoa, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean nothing. You, blah, blah, please don't tell me, blah, blah. I know for a fact that it instantly went to her group chat. She was talking about it like, oh, look at this guy. Like, he's so fucking like cringy, texting me stuff like this. I'm over here all embarrassed thinking I just ruined my reputation and just like absolutely ashamed of myself. And I just felt very uncomfortable and I felt like a loser because, she was very unreceptive to it. And I thought I was cooked at that point. But the reason that it went so poorly is not necessarily because of what I said, but really because I just hadn't improved enough. Like I said, when you see those flirting versus sexual harassment memes, what you don't really think about is the fact that you can make that transformation for yourself. So I was over here stuck in the category of like, it's kind of loser-ish, not not bad looking, just kind of average looking, but no confidence with that. So I just kind of put myself in that loser category, poor self-esteem. And so, I was in that sexual harassment category where like I would say something and then it would just go wrong versus now I can get away with it. Now it's like, it's seen as flirting. It's seen as like, this playful kind of banter back and forth. This is because the more that you improve yourself, the more that you can get away with saying. Like I said, I'm very bold nowadays. Like, I've worked on myself. I'm very handsome now. And, I built up a good physique and all that, everything's like kind of coming together. I'm constantly improving myself. I'm not saying I'm like perfect. I'm still improving myself, but, I've built a very good place for myself in life so far. And now I'm very, very much way more bold than I used to be and saying some of the same stuff that I used to, except now it's actually working instead of, having the opposite effect. Now it's instead of repulsing women, it's actually attracting them. Like my girlfriend now, for example, like when I first started talking to her, I was saying some wild shit, kind of like the same wild shit that I was trying from all these like little influencer tactics that I saw in all the videos. And it actually worked. And, now like obviously things went well for me and now we're dating. So, and it was all because I just kept improving myself. Some guys will get like paralysis by analysis. So they'll just like kind of see a girl and think like, oh, she's way out of my league, blah, blah, blah. And you're putting women on this pedestal. And this is a big part of the problem because then you start overthinking, what do I got to say, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of, no matter what you say, you kind of come off as kind of creepy and, insecure and just weird. Like you come across like a weirdo. Then you start obsessing, like when you get rejected, you start obsessing over like your game and stuff like that, what it is you said, and you start thinking it's all about that rather than, the kind of the actual problem at hand. You start worrying about like, oh, maybe I didn't say the right thing, or oh, I didn't approach her at this right time. My candle tilt isn't exactly like 35 degrees, whatever. But you don't actually consider what would actually work for you, and that's just like focusing on improving yourself. There are real two things that you can do in order to improve this, in order to start getting that kind of, guy pretty privilege where you can basically just do what you want and get treated way better than other guys. Actually start getting approached by women, start actually being looked at as attractive and get like complimented on this stuff because it's possible. Like girls have pretty privilege, but guys do too, as long as you make yourself into the right kind of guy. Like I said, there are two things that you can do to build this up and actually get that guy pretty privilege. And that the first thing is going to be looks maxing. Now, looks aren't everything. I know that. And I know there's a big like war in the comments, like the looks aren't to be like, oh, looks are the most important thing. Like if you're not genetically blessed, like you're screwed forever. And then some people will be like, oh, looks don't even matter. You just have to like be yourself, king, blah, blah, blah. Both of that is bullshit. Looks obviously are very important and it's going to be what actually gets your foot into the door. Some people are going to try to tell you that, oh, your looks are just kind of based on however you're born at. But if you really think about it, like when you're a baby, like if we took a room full of babies, you wouldn't be able to tell who the fuck is who's going to turn out attractive or whatnot. It's all about like your lifestyle factors and what you do as you're developing that determines like how your outcome, that determines how you're going to be. I mean, obviously there are going to be some certain genetic limitations, but for the most part, 99% of the world has no reason why they could not improve themselves and become a very attractive person by the world standards, and then end up, having a like great dating life, blah, blah, blah. And you're just going to be able to accomplish this through looks maxing. And this is going to be focusing on factors that you can control, like, your jawline, your physique, your haircut, your style. All these different things can combine in order to build a very attractive look, regardless of where your starting point was. Like, if you're a 3 out of 10, you can turn yourself into like a 5, 6, maybe even 7 out of 10 if you work really hard over like the course of some years. Versus if you're like that average, you're just dead set at 5, you can work your way up to like a 9 or 8, 9 or 10, something like that. It really just depends on, the time frame that you're doing it, how consistent you are and all that, and if you actually do the things that actually work. Because looks maxing is possible. Like, it is possible to become a more attractive person. Looks are only going to get you so far, and then beyond that, that's when you're actually going to start to, need to use some of your game. Because women are going to do what's called shit tests. Shit tests are basically when they kind of test your frame, which is basically like your self-image of yourself, in order to see if you are that high-value man that you're portraying yourself as, or if you're just another phony that's playing dress up and you're actually a little bit of a cuck, a loser. Some examples might be like, one really popular one is girls will be like, oh, I bet you say that to all the girls or something like that. And then, if the guy's a loser, he'll be like backing off like, oh, no, I don't, I'm only saying it to you, blah, blah, blah. Instead of making it like, more playful. This is where you actually need to upgrade your game. And yep, I said it to every single girl in the world or something like that. Just be more playful with it, make a joke out of it rather than, be serious and start backtracking on your word and stuff like that, because, she's like literally shit testing you. And this is like a subconscious thing, right? It's not a bad thing, because women aren't just going to consciously just be like, oh, I need to test him right now. I need to see if he's like alpha male. They're just going to like kind of, subconsciously do this just because, women are biologically looking for the best man possible, the top of the top of the food chain. And, guys are doing the same thing. Like, we all want to end up with the best person, the right person for us. So women are just going to subconsciously it's in our nature to just test you to see if you are like who you say you are. And this is a good thing because it's going to hold you accountable. And you can kind of like be honest with yourself and see where you're at. That's why you need to upgrade your game. You need to make sure it's on point and that you're ready for these shit tests when they come, because they will come. The best women are going to shit test you the most because, they're like, if they're the best, then they need the best man. So they are going to have the most tests for you to put you through, right? It's kind of like if you've ever read The Way of the Superior Man, it talks about this, like how the world and women is just one big shit test. Like, might as well just assume everything's a big shit test to test your capacity to be in your masculine frame and, be the man, the high value man that you portray yourself to be. The internet kind of gets confused and they argue like, oh, you have to look max, that's the only thing that matters. Or, oh, you have to have a perfect game, that's the only thing that matters. But the truth of it is that everything goes hand in hand. It's not just one or the other. Everything's not so black and white. It is actually best when both of them combine and, you have them both locked down pretty good and you're upgrading the skills in both of them. And this is going to get you that guy pretty privilege. Like, some of the stuff I get away with is actually insane, and I wouldn't even believe it compared to like what I used to try the same things and it didn't work. It actually got me embarrassed and blocked and exposed on like a girl story and stuff like that. Now it's like, it's the complete opposite. Now, like, it got me into a relationship by being this bold and stuff and all that's all because I just kept improving myself and kept improving my look and my game and all that. I know they say that grass isn't greener on the other side, but in this case, yes, it is. Once, like, I swear, I'd never gotten approached in my life, but now, like, I've had girls approach me. Like, it was a mind-blowing experience. It broke a lot of limiting beliefs in my mind. If you want some help with your looks maxing and your game to improve both of them at once, my course covers it all, linked in the description below. You can read about it more if you'd like to. With that being said, remember, be better than you were yesterday.